Hello, Chemist. Today I have a very special story to share. Today we have Arran, that is a chemist, and he's gonna share a very tough moment in the lab. So I always share the fun side of the lab, how fun it is, cool it is, but it's a very dangerous place and bad things can happen in the lab, even if you're doing everything perfectly. And he's the example. Who are you? What do you do?
Hi, I'm Arran. I'm a third year PhD student in chemical synthesis. I'm here to talk about how chemistry can be fun, but it can also get out of hand quite quickly. But if you follow all the correct policies, procedures, when it gets out of hand, you can minimize these issues.
So what accident did you have? What happened?
So it was an explosion, unfortunately. So part of my research is in atmosphere chemistry. So everything has to be dry, as you're well aware.
Why? Because people might not know.
Yeah, true. So a lot of the moisture in the air can interact with the compounds that you're trying to synthesize. So my stuff is organophosphorus, and phosphorus can oxidize under conditions where there's a lot of moisture. I was actually performing a static distillation on acetonitrile. It was the end of the day on a Friday, about 5-6 o'clock. So I started to shut down. I shut down the distillation. And when I picked up the Schlenk flask with the distilled acetonitrile in, it decided to explode.
When you actually picked it, like
Yes,
in your hand?
Yes, I was holding on to it at the time. Yeah, which was quite crazy because I had it in my fingertips, which I think was a good move rather than holding on to the flask entirely.
Wow.
So this exploded without warning. It was quite scary.
That's scary. That's scary. Why did you decide to pick it and not leave it there?
I didn't expect it. Yeah, so it's a very good question, right? So when you become comfortable in a procedure that you're doing, you've done it so many times, and you follow in SOPs, and you think you understand it. There are times when you might not have considered absolutely every avenue, and that's not a fallback in the chemist per se. It's just sometimes you do become a bit complacent that you've done this so many times
that you know what's going on.
This never goes wrong, and until it does. Yeah, exactly. And in this instance, it was a freak accident. So we believe that we can't be certain, but we believe that there might have been some form of micro crack in the distillation bridge.
Okay.
The vacuum has sucked in air, and then we've condensed liquid oxygen
in your receiving flask, basically.
Exactly.
So in your mixture you had condensed oxygen and
acetonitrile.
My goodness. Have you ever done that again?
Yes, I have. I think I did it the very next week. This is part of science, part of chemistry. You have to learn from your mistake, and you have to remember that this ultimately is part of your job, right? This is why we came to do this type of research.
I'm not entirely sure, but
not to have accidents. But we're doing these. I came to do this type of research.
Yeah.
When this goes wrong, you have to understand that there is an element that it can go wrong. And
it can be traumatic when the error is big. Let's say when the accident is big, it can be really traumatic, and you don't want to be in the lab anymore. But let's go back to the accident. Like, you picked the flask, it blew up, and
so I was concussed. I lost hearing in my right ear, so I was deaf for a short time. And at first,
by short time, you mean?
About a week, I couldn't hear out of my right ear, and now I suffer from tinnitus a little bit in my right ear, which is to be expected. But at first, I was afraid to look down because my hand had gone numb, and I thought, with the vastness of the explosion and how loud it was, I thought that maybe I've lost a finger or maybe a few fingers. And when I finally did look down, I saw my hand was badly damaged.
Was this hand?
Yes, it was this one. So I've got quite a few skulls there now. I saw my hand was badly damaged, but I could move everything. The next concern was that my lab coat then had holes across the chest, and then blood started to come out. So that's when I knew this is quite serious.
What?
I made sure the lab was safe after that point. I
Okay.
don't know how I mustered the energy. I think it was just shock. I made sure everyone was okay.
Really? Like you had
Yes,
the
yeah, weirdly
cold
enough.
blood?
Yeah,
Wow.
very,
To look around and be like, hello, guys.
yeah, I think
Wow.
someone asked me, what do you want me to do? And I think I said to them, I
Anything.
want you to stay calm. Just stay calm.
What?
I can't remember this because I was quite
Yeah.
quite
Adrenaline
concussed.
kicking in and
And then what was so good about the situation, weirdly enough, to put a silver lining on it, what was good is to see all of my friends and colleagues who I work with every day, who we make jokes with each other and we're constantly pranking each other and all these things, to see how quickly they can act in a situation like this and how
that's what we are
responsible
meant
they
to
become.
that's what we are meant to do,
Yeah.
right?
So
Wow.
everyone worked as a team so quickly that
Perfect.
the emergency services could get to us, they could get us to the right treatments. Everything was safe as soon as the situation happened.
Okay. So they brought you outside of the lab
Mhm.
and took care of the situation. They knew what you were doing and everything.
Yeah, so I walked myself to my office and then I laid on the floor because the shock took me out a little bit.
Okay.
And I thought I'll lay
Finally,
down.
I mean, after all
Yeah.
this checking on others.
Yeah,
like...
exactly. So I think that
Wow.
was just something mental. I'll just make sure everyone's okay. So I laid down on the floor to prevent myself from maybe passing out or something from the shock. And we waited for the ambulance crew to get there. And the fire brigade and hazmat came to ensure everything was safe. And then I was taken to St. George's Hospital to be treated. So firstly, I was treated for potential poisoning from the acetonite trial. So if any of that had got into my system, then it could, I believe it could be metabolized into cyanide.
Maybe. I'm not entirely
yeah.
sure.
So I believe if you ingest acetonite trial, it can be metabolized into cyanide. So they treated me for cyanide poisoning just to be on the safe side.
Fair enough.
And then I had a 3-hour surgery to remove glass. So they removed one piece from my head, 6 from my chest, 1 from my stomach, and 3 from my wrist. It was quite a lot. At the time, I felt fine.
Sure. Wow. So basically, the entire flask was on you.
Yes, yeah. So I actually still find remnants of this flask every now and again. I'm like, oh, there's some. But the force of the Schlenk flask can hold 10 atmospheres up of pressure.
So it was quite a big.
So when this went, it went with quite an intense explosion.
And nothing ended up in your face. You were quite lucky.
Yeah, very lucky.
Because of the sash that was down, or just pure luck?
No. So firstly, the sash. So I had the sash at the correct working height.
One sec. So when we tell you to lower the sash in the lab, you students, that's why.
Yes, yeah, definitely. Always have it down.
That's why.
I think actually now after the accident, I'm even more cautious with it. And in my own videos, you'll see I'm one hand is always on the sash, and I'm always adjusting it as soon as I remember this is getting a bit too high now. So the sash was at the correct working height. I had my safety specs on, so I actually have a picture of my safety specs. It's cracked down the right eye, and there's 3 shards embedded into and I did get a piece of my head that was removed. My face, very luckily, and so was my neck. That was something we couldn't believe. It managed to get my face and my torso,
anywhere but the neck,
but not my neck.
Wow.
Very, very lucky.
Wow.
Very lucky.
And surgery, and then the recovery, how long was it?
The recovery, I would say, probably took about a month. I joke I'm not as traumatized as maybe I should be, but I'm definitely more cautious about things. Firstly, my institute was incredibly supportive of everything. They made sure I had everything in place, whether it be financial or whether it be psychological help. That everything was there ready from me. And in fact, a few of the academics were at the hospital with me to ensure I was fine. So I'm incredibly grateful about that. Now, when I do things, I used to think about what I was doing anyway, but now I probably double check everything and I take a moment to think, have I evaluated absolutely everything in this scenario? Could something have happened that I haven't necessarily took into consideration?
Do you do this when you actually write your risk assessment and, let's say, submit the risk assessment, or does these happen every time you go in the lab performing a new reaction?
every time. So I firstly write up a risk assessment,
Yeah.
and usually I do it on a broad basis. So I do it if I'm doing a specific type of project, I'll evaluate everything for that project, and I'll keep that one close at hand, just to make sure the information is. I can quickly get to that information, because that's one thing that assisted the emergency services, was having access to the list of chemicals that we were using at the time.
Yeah.
But also when I'm stood there. So when I'm stood and say I'm about to seal a Schlenk flask, I will think to myself, is this now under very high pressure? Could it potentially come under high pressure very quickly? And how could I possibly mitigate that from happening? Do I need to allow something to vent? Or, so I have my COSH forms and my risk assessments, which I stay on top of, and I always read it. It's on my fume hood.
Given that, let's say this accident, it couldn't have been prevented, right? Because if the theory is that maybe some oxygen went in because of a crack that you didn't see, so there's nothing you could do different to avoid this, right?
Yeah.
Don't you have any PTSD anytime you do a reaction thinking, what if there is a crack and I haven't spotted it? And like, are you obsessed, I don't know, in checking the glassware, or just anytime you do it, you're worried deep down?
Yeah, there's a few times I've been worried to touch the Schlenk line and think it's actually now everything's under vacuum. So my arm is now in there and exposed with that system. But since my undergrad, working in industry, working in education, it's been about a decade, and this is the first accident I've had. So to relinquish all that 10 years of being safe for one accident, yes, it would be easy to be traumatized. There is a certain level of trauma involved.
You still have a bit of trust in it.
Yeah, I still have.
It happened. It's fine. Let's move on.
Like you say, there's nothing that could have been done.
Yeah.
And this was investigated by multiple people, including the emergency services. Was everything in place? Was everything being done properly? Was everyone obeying policy? And this was the case. And if it wasn't the case, we would have been in a far more critical situation than we were.
You wouldn't be here,
right?
Maybe.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know.
We
maybe.
could have lost potentially
fingers,
or we could have glass could have got into. If I didn't have my safety specs on my right eye, these wouldn't have stopped an explosion going for my eye.
How did it work in terms of investigation? You got the accident, you ended up in the hospital. Everyone, I mean, in this situation, everyone is super collaborative and everything. I mean, not always, but you would hope, right? In a very dangerous situation that people just help and then we'll think about the rest. But like, you got the surgery, and then what? Like, when does the investigation start? How does it work? The whole bureaucratic machine, let's say, how does it work?
Essentially, it kicks in immediately. Because that information needs to be supplied around multiple people at the incident. The first thing they're going to do in an incident like this is your scene commanders or paramedic scene commanders or fire brigade chiefs. They want to know what's happening and why it's happened, so they can give you the best treatment or make the situation safe. After this, I was told very clearly, get well, and then don't think about things that are going on. Just concentrate on getting well and making sure you're happy, and then we'll talk about what potentially could have happened. In terms of the investigation in itself, it was very much multiple people's stories were asked for. So we were all asked to supply stories, because there were scientists in the area that heard the explosion and rushed to the area to assist.
And figured out what happened,
So you had people calling the emergency services, you had people getting supervisors, you had people ensuring everyone who wasn't particularly involved in the incident was okay. So everyone's story was asked for, and we all had to supply this independently to one health and safety person, who then brings all this story together
and
assesses what actually happened, and then they collaborate with the fire brigade, who would like a report for the health and safety executive, once again to make sure that we're abiding by all of the rules and the procedures that are in place.
Wow. Another question. How was the first day back in the lab, and when it was?
So the incident happened on the Friday. I'm a bit of a workaholic. I think you have to be as a researcher, right? You can't. You're a bit worried to stop. So the incident happened on Friday. I went back to the institute on the Monday.
Seriously?
Yes, but I didn't go into the lab. I just made sure all my things were in place and
Okay.
people.
What do you mean all your things were in the lab?
In the office, and
okay.
make sure my reactions and that had been looked at and was stabilized to make sure nothing else could go wrong. And then I took probably about 2 weeks off to rest and recover and read literature. And
to read, like you took a week off to actually work.
I mean, you can get some benefit out of it.
Unbelievable.
And then, well, it helped me.
So what about therapy? I don't know. Have you seen anyone? No. You didn't.
No, I think in that scenario, my friends and my colleagues were.
They were your therapists. Okay.
I think these people understand the scenario. It becomes unbelievable, some of these scenarios.
Okay.
So at the hospital, nurses and doctors were coming by my room because I was the chemical explosion guy. And I think they were
the popular kid.
Yeah, right. And I think they were expecting to see this really like melted person.
And he wasn't.
And I was sat in an armchair thinking, when can I go home? I think talking to my friends who were in the lab at the time, talking to my friends who came to visit me, was more therapy. It was being able to talk with people who understand, go over the scenario, rather than people who are just looking from an outside perspective.
Okay. And the first day in the actual lab, when was it? Did it take you a bit?
This was about 2 weeks after.
Okay.
So
because of the supervisor not wanting you in the lab anymore, or?
No, my supervisor was actually insistent that I would rest.
Okay.
He was like, rest, don't worry.
Yeah.
In fact, he wanted me to take longer.
Okay.
But after 2 weeks, I was like,
you needed
I'm
that.
bored. I need to, I've got this reaction that has to happen.
So dedicated.
Well, yeah, at certain times. So he actually wanted me to take longer because he was making sure that I was fine, which is fantastic to have that level of support and understanding. But the first day back, I remember that was probably when I was most hesitant.
Okay.
Because my arm, like I say, my arm is in there with the shrink line now, and I was a bit worried to turn the tap to the vacuum because I was thinking, what could actually happen now? Is this safe? And then I think after about a week, I got back to my usual self, but with an improved.
I can't even imagine. Like, I don't know if I would be able to go back to a lab, honestly. Like,
I think it takes different people, different amounts of time.
Is it like when you have an accident with a motorbike that they suggest you to go back and use the motorbike as quick as possible before you change your mind?
Before you stop.
And stop using it.
Yeah, in chemistry. I mean, my mother was concerned.
Exactly. What about your parents?
Well, it's quite funny because she was like, I didn't realize how dangerous chemistry was and all this and how dangerous your job is. And I had to remind her that all of my family engineers on oil rigs in the North Sea. I said, I don't think my job is particularly the dangerous one, but
we're quite on the same.
Yeah, I think we're on
fair enough.
Equal levels.
Okay.
So my mum was a bit shocked by that, and I know a few other scientists who were there. Their family were the same. I don't think this is one of the things we suffer with as chemists is people don't really understand what we do.
That's the problem. And when they do, they're really scared of what we do.
It's something that is a bit uneasy to
when you actually reveal what happened, especially for us, like I used to do more air sensitive chemistry, right? Mm-hmm. When we talk about what happened, it caught on fire, we were quenching. What is quenching? Well, neutralizing things. And they get scared a lot.
Yeah, and you have to tell them this is pyrophoric. What does pyrophoric mean?
Catch on fire.
If it touches the air, it'll burst into flames. Or this has to be under vacuum, and I have to do this, otherwise this will happen. And I think that's when they start to. That's the only thing they hear. They don't hear. Well, I've actually been doing this for nearly a decade.
Yes.
And this hasn't happened. Really, it was reassuring a lot of people around me that I was sane.
Okay.
And this was.
Don't worry, it wasn't me being crazy. Like,
yeah, it wasn't me. Okay. Yeah, I think that was the main issue, was ensuring everyone else understood that I was actually fine.
When did you have the accident?
The accident was in April.
Okay, so less than a year?
Yeah, about 3-4 months ago.
Wow.
Right. So it's quite recent. Who knows? My trauma might kick in any of this.
No, please don't. Are you now, like, now that everything, like, it's done, passed, you're fine, you recovered, you are in the lab, you enjoy your chemistry or whatever, are you the popular student in your department? Are you the, oh, he's the one that
the health and safety
yeah,
like,
are you chased after, I don't know, are people checking on you often?
Well, we now have more procedures in place than we already did.
Thanks to you.
Thanks to me, yes. I don't claim to.
That's a merit.
But yeah, so we have more procedures. The procedures we had in place were fine, but they're just making sure that it's even safer than it was. We don't necessarily have people coming in and checking on us, but we, for instance, if I'm in the lab, we need to make sure someone is in the area doing regular checks.
Okay.
Which is standard practice
yes,
in any laboratory.
Yes. In here as well, there's no lone working unless you have windows from the office that they can see what you're doing otherwise.
And we had this in place anywhere, and I wasn't alone at the time anywhere.
Okay.
So there was other scientists in the lab and in my office.
Yeah, I mean, accident can happen even if, especially when people are around.
Yeah. It's just making sure that there's people there to assist should an accident happen. I've become a bit of the health and safety poster child. Like
stigma on you?
Yeah. Well,
Is there a stigma on you?
But we have a few of my friends who now work across the globe in chemistry. What was interesting is health and safety is one of the top priorities at universities, even industry, but it's one of the things that continually are brought up as something that's becoming challenging to enforce because some students are just not listening to this idea. Yeah. A lot of people from across the globe who teach have actually messaged me saying, can I please use you as a way to prove to my students this is vital and I mean,
that's why we're doing this, to be honest.
Exactly,
like,
right.
Reason.
The fact that you followed protocol is the only reason you're not in a blind, or even worse, you've lost a limb or you've died, or so hopefully if people get help out. I've always been a stickler for the rules. I love a good rule. If you tell me a rule, I'll follow it.
Okay.
So and a few people said this to me. In fact, you are probably as morbid as it sounds.
Okay.
And it sounds, but a few people have said, like, out of everyone it could have happened to, it happened to one of the best people who actually follows every
you
bit
could
of guidance to me.
I mean, even better, because otherwise it could have been worse, not just for you, but like for the actual department, right? Because when things then spread.
Yeah, exactly. And it woke a lot of people up. Like, people were being safe, but they were being safe in almost a zombie-ish mode.
Yeah, true.
It's part and parcel of the job. And it kind of woke them up as to, I'm safe, but I need to be conscious about the safety aspect, not just kind of a passenger.
Like passively doing stuff and not even thinking about the risks. Sometimes even when you use solvents, you don't use the fume hood, like you're breathing stuff that you don't even know there, because you didn't actually do like the whole research around it to know that is toxic or dangerous for yourself mainly. Is there something, I think this is the last question, is there something that now you are extremely strict or rigid about and before you were not? Even if you're good, like you were behaving correctly before as well, but like after the accident, is there something that, like, I'm obsessed with this specific, I don't know, safety measure or task or anything in the lab? Like, I don't know, you need sand behind you every time, or gloves or anything? Yeah,
probably two things that I've become a bit more conscious of. Buttoning up my lab coat prior to entering. So I did have a habit of putting it on and buttoning it as I was going to the fume hood.
Yes.
But if I was walking past someone like me who had that incident at the time and my lab coat was unbuttoned, it can get to me.
Yes.
So the lab coat, when the explosion happened, slowed down the projectiles enough for them not to pierce anything substantial. So now I'm very much, I don't move away from the coat stand until it's fully buttoned, rather than buttoning it en route to where I'm going.
Because we all did, by the way.
Yeah. This is a common thing, because you think, what's the difference between?
Yeah, I'm just going in, I'm closing it while I go.
I'm doing it.
Yes.
I'm being efficient. I'm saving time, but actually that's something we shouldn't compromise on. So I'm a bit more strict with myself on this. Is I have to have it fully buttoned before I get to the stand. And the second one is, so I actually look after some intern students whilst we do research together. And even now with myself, even if I use a reagent or a solvent that I'm particularly well versed with, I use it all day, every day. I will make sure I've read the cosh again.
Okay.
It's on my fume hood. What's the
you put it there. Okay.
Yeah, it's clamped to the fume hood. This was always clamped to the fume hood.
Okay.
So pulling it off, having a quick look, and I'll always say to my intern students now, so what are the hazards with this? And if they can't tell me, I'm like, well, we're not touching anything until you take it down and you read it.
Fair enough.
That's what it's there for. You need to understand all the risks associated, and sometimes you come across as kind of the bore of, oh, why are you being so strict? But actually, there's a good reason.
Now you can send them this video.
Yeah,
You'll be like,
very, very good reason.
Watch the video now.
This will be an open lecture.
I try to do the same with the students, giving a bit of responsibility and being like, okay, you're going to perform this reaction. I don't know anything about it. Figure out how to neutralize your solvent reagents, quench it. What are the risks? How do you dispose of it?
Yeah, disposal is one of them things where a lot of students are a bit nervous to ask for help, but they don't understand how dangerous it can be if you dispose of it in the wrong place. Container. That's when a lot of the things go wrong. So encouraging them to have that extra minute or two out of their very busy day, just have a read of what you're about to do, and it does make a difference.
Very good. Thank you very much for the answers. It was really interesting because I never really witnessed, let's say, an accident, especially from someone doing chemistry, like close to the one I do. Like we do similar chemistry.
Very.
So it's interesting to see how unpredictable things can happen.
Very.
It's not necessarily your fault. It always happened late in the day because we're tired. Because I don't know, you want to go home.
It's when you're letting your guard down.
Yes. You just let it down,
but it shows how much we must concentrate on our work throughout a day. If everything remains safe, and then as soon as you start to lapse on that concentration, that's when it can go from 0 to 100 incredibly quickly. Crazy.
Do you make content online? Do you talk about this thing? Do you share your lab online?
I share very small videos of just what I'm doing in the lab, whether it's degassing solvent or drying glassware under vacuum.
As a show off or as a tutorial kind of?
As a show off, mainly. But yeah.
Then I'll put your link, your name here. I follow him.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Have a nice day. Bye guys.